Every day on this channel, I go through everything Elon said on X in the last 24 hours. And here's how many times Elon posted about each subject today. I'll go over everything he said about each topic before moving on to the next one. And let's start with SpaceX because today is a very big day. Starship is launching for the 10th time tonight because Elon Musk would rather send a big rocket to Mars than go to therapy. And Elon says, yep, that's true. And here is the Starship getting moved along the road towards the launch pad. And here are some views of the first version 3 Raptor engine at Starbase tonight on display next to version 1 and version 2. And Elon reposted this. And he also reposted that today will be a big day for SpaceX. One step closer to Mars. Here how it began, Elon dancing with a mariachi band. And here it is today, Starship stacked between the chopsticks. And Elon actually said on Joe Rogan that they made the Starship pointy because of the movie The Dictator.
Everyone thought it would be funny if we made the rocket more pointy, so we did.
And Kiko works at SpaceX and says, I hope everyone enjoyed the 3 Falcon launches in 51 hours. The final course is set for Sunday evening. Go Starship Flight 10 and go SpaceX. So Yunta says, wow, 3 launches in 51 hours, that's getting closer to the airline cadence. And Elon responds saying, yes, in about 6 or 7 years, there will be days when Starship launches more than 24 times in 24 hours. And he says that making consciousness multiplanetary is essential for its long-term survival. And here is a little boy looking up at Starship, and Shayna Diaz says, for those folks who like to ask me why I still work for SpaceX, it's because I want my son to live in a world where people travel to the stars. Here he is watching Ship 37 make its way to the launch pad in Starbase. He asked a lot of questions about why the heat shield is only on one side of the rocket. And Elon responded with a heart. And Space Chicken is also at Starbase, and she says 2 days ago, I was passive-aggressively attacked via text message by a family member again for supporting SpaceX, and the future of our relationship was held hostage over it. Today I am rooting for SpaceX and Starship. If you can't appreciate world-changing engineering and support a team of hard-working individuals with collective vision just because you don't like the guy who runs it, then please don't ruin it for the rest of us. And Elon responds saying, fight back. And so let's see what Elon said about Tesla. James Douma said Ashok, who runs the autopilot program, or FSD, he said on an earnings call 1 year ago, like you mentioned to Elon, we already made a 100x improvement with 12.5 from starting of this year, and then with V13 release, we expect to be 1000x from the beginning from January this year. James says at that time, both Elon and Ashok predicted Q2-3 of 2025 for exceeding human driver performance. We haven't heard from them yet, but I think the prediction was pretty close. If early avals of V14 are, as Elon claims, already a noticeable step up versus V13, then mature V14 will move FSD into the 10x better than human realm. So if you're a vigilant and careful driver, you can outperform V13 in terms of safety, but you won't beat V14. And the data should show this fairly solidly in 6 months or so. Elon replies saying V14 will be better than humans for sure, but I don't know if it will be 10x, maybe 2 to 3x. V15 has a shot at 10x better than humans. And then Arash made the cinematic video of himself taking a robotaxi ride, and Yunta quoted saying, no HD maps required. Elon replied saying, no maps required at all. And you don't have to leave your buddy at home when running errands, just pop on dog mode. So that was an update on Tesla's full self-driving progress. Now let's get an update on the XAI goal of 50 million in units of H100 equivalent AI compute online within 5 years that Elon predicted about a month ago. This XAI employee brought it up today saying it's an older post, but for those that are wondering what we're going to be up to over the next few years, let's just say we'll be busy. Elon quoted that saying, having thought about it some more, I think the 50 million H100 equivalent number in 5 years is about right. Eventually, billions. And X-Freeze says that XAI is the speed force the world has never seen. In just 2 years, they lead at the top with the world's most powerful AI with Grok 4 release and an extremely small team. So Elon quoted that and said, XAI will soon be far beyond any company besides Google, then significantly exceed Google. Companies in China will be the toughest competitors because they have so much more electricity than America and are super strong at building hardware. So Penny2X quoted this saying, America should be building power plants and battery storage. And Elon replied to him saying, I have a plan for that. And he also reposted Whole Mars Catalog, who said that solar is amazing. Energy literally falls from the sky. No need to get fuel. You can't beat those economics. If America doesn't build it out aggressively to complement other sources, we will have less energy security as a nation. And XAI is hiring super smart and driven people from all walks of life. Join us for the adventure of a lifetime. Elon takes no prisoners. He wants to turn XAI into a multi-trillion-dollar tech giant. We live in the most interesting timeline, says based Jeff Bezos, and Elon says XAI will be a multi-trillion-dollar tech giant. And this guy wants to know if Elon will hire mechanical engineers to design the data center cooling infrastructure. And Elon says yes. And the Grok 2.5 model, which was their best model last year, is now open source. Grok 3 will be made open source in about 6 months. And Elon reposted this XAI employee announcing the same thing. And Nick says XAI delivered on the open source promise. The biggest doubters are quiet today, not even a post of appreciation. Honestly, I've learned some of the key people here actually are lowlife. No class. Emily says Grok 2.5 is a complete model, not a made-up model to cover the company's secret. The same goes for Grok 3 in 6 months, and Elon says exactly. And Tech Dev Notes says some Grok fans are demanding gym trainer Annie. Elon says good idea, this could help with motivation to work out and be healthier. Annie is an AI companion, so it would basically watch you work out using the camera, and it could encourage you, count your reps, and whatever else. And you can also just point your camera at anything for Grok to explain. You could upload any document or picture. And Matthew says, the more I think about it, voice AI makes sense as the primary AI interface of the future. And Elon says Grok has the best voice interface. Grok is still number 1 at Live Code Bench, and Elon says to try Grok. This was coded with Grok 4. It's an interactive 3D visualizer with real-time audio reactivity. And Vision Mode is now available to everyone in the Grok Android app. And here's a list of things XAI is working on that could be released in the near future. Grok Finance, Grok 4.20, Grok 420, longer Imagine videos, spreadsheets, and a new X algorithm powered by Grok 4. This is the modern software stack, and Heiner says to do the opposite of whatever this is, and Elon replies saying all will be wiped away by the supersonic tsunami that is AI. And David Patterson says by 2030 all jobs will be replaced by AI and robots easily. The US labor force is about 170 million workers. About 80 million of those jobs include hands-on work. Automated systems can work 4 shifts a week. Replacing all physical labor would require about 20 million autonomous systems, including vehicles, automated equipment, and robots. That can be accomplished easily in the next 4 years. People saying it's not physically possible to build that many systems in 4 years are delusional. For comparison, 16 million cars were sold in the US last year. Cars are 20 times the mass of a humanoid robot. If robots were sold at the same rate as cars, that would be 320 million robots per year. Even a tiny fraction of that would be enough to replace all human manual labor. Elon says your estimates are about right. However, intelligent robots in humanoid form will far exceed the population of humans, as every person will want their own personal R2-D2 and C3PO. And then there will be many robots in industry for every human to provide products and services. So Osden responds saying, when robots replace working people, how will those who become unemployed sustain their lives? Elon said there will be universal high income, not merely basic income. Everyone will have the best medical care, food, home, transport, and everything else, sustainable abundance. But before we call any model AGI, show that it learns from experience in real time. If it never updates its policy and only logs info for retrieval, it will plateau. Real general intelligence keeps moving from feedback while it acts, and Elon agrees. Here was a case where ChatGPT said, I don't know, and I can't reliably find out. The president of OpenAI said it's a difficult skill for both humans and AIs. I'm assuming he means to say, I don't know. Elon replies to this and says, indeed. Well, I'll admit that I don't know anything about physics, but based Jeff Bezos says Leonard Susskind's lectures on physics one-shotted him into studying physics. So Elon responds to this and says, cool. I studied physics because I was curious about the nature of reality. And here's what Kobe Bryant had to say about Elon.
Elon Musk is, I think, a genius by all accounts. But his commitment and his work, like I asked him one time about how does he learn? And the amount of research and the amount of study that he does is unheard of. But he'll always say the most important thing is imagination. So you can learn anything that you want to learn. You can study all these things that you have in a book, but if you don't have the imagination to then take it to another level, it doesn't mean anything. And I think Elon was when I sat down and spoke with Elon for a couple of hours, it was really, really a joy.
So would you buy Tesla stock then?
I'll buy into Elon.
Rest in peace to Kobe. And Stephanie Tyler says, I have some wild mutuals. Founders, creators, investors, operators, politicians. People I'd never cross paths with if not for this app. And you wouldn't believe how many of them DM me to say they liked something that I wrote. And for context, this girl writes a lot of anti-trans posts. She thinks gender studies is dumb. And so these people DM her and they say, I couldn't engage with it publicly, but I liked it. So she says the truth is a lot of high-functioning people hold opinions in private that they still can't say out loud without getting absolutely torched by the mod. They risk losing status, funding, career insulation, whatever. We like to pretend free speech is back, but unfortunately fear still runs the show for most people. Heavy sigh, and Elon also sighs. And Nayib Bukele says the same people who protest El Salvador's public school policy of proper haircuts and basic manners are okay with this woke bullshit. If you also think like that, you've been brainwashed, and this woman in this video is complaining about how in Fairfax County, all of the board members agreed that there should be gender studies in elementary school, and they voted that after they met with all the parents in the county, and all the parents said, we don't want this. They still voted 16-0 that their kids should study gender studies. And J.K. Rowling says the BBC calls a male neo-Nazi she because their absolutist belief in gender identity ideology means any man, rapist, voyeur, terrorist, murderer, or pedophile must be described as a woman the moment he says he's one. And Elon says, wow. And Asmon Gold is going viral for his spicy take about the real threat to America. He says the biggest threat to America isn't Hamas, Venezuelan gangs, or violent migrants. It's upper middle class, primarily white women who would import all of the above to destroy the country in order to satisfy their suicidal empathy. And Elon raises an eyebrow at that one, holding his chin. And for the second day in a row, Elon congratulates Joe Gebbia on being elected by President Trump as the first chief design officer of the United States of America. And the CEO of Telegram says 1 year ago, the French police detained me for 4 days because some people I'd never heard of used Telegram to coordinate crimes. Arresting a CEO of a major platform over the actions of its users was not only unprecedented, it was legally and logically absurd. A year later, the criminal investigation against me is still struggling to find anything that I or Telegram did wrong. Our moderation practices align with industry standards. And Telegram has always responded to every legally binding request from France. Ironically, I was arrested due to the French police's own mistake. Before August 2024, they ignored French and EU laws and hadn't sent any of their queries to Telegram via the required legal process. They could have learned the correct procedure simply by Googling it or asking. 1 year after this strange arrest, I still have to return to France every 14 days with no appeal date in sight. So far, the only outcome of my arrest has been massive damage to France's image as a free country. One thing is certain, we will keep fighting and we will win. So Elon responds with a Grok prompt. Elon asked Grok to summarize the trial by Kafka in 150 words as a vulgar roast of bureaucracy, no holds barred. Bureaucracy is a soul-sucking vampire, draining your life while laughing at your futile flailing. And I'm unable to view this post because this account owner limits who can view their posts. So, I have no idea what Elon's referring to here. In 18 months after becoming the first patient to be implanted with a Neuralink chip, says his whole life has changed. I see how the advancements in tech at this point are going to solve so many things. They are, I think, the future of medicine. I think a lot of disabilities, cures, and answers that we've been searching for a long time will come through tech, and that kind of surprised me. It's nuts that the device holds so well for such a long time, and Elon reposted this. And the head of product at X says, incredible content on the timeline today. Thank you, posters, for your service. Elon says, thanks for posting and engaging with great content. And there were other users who were expressing their joy. Karata says today the timeline is now full of variety, photos, videos, and text. It's great to see people focused on creating instead of complaining about their reach. And Elon reposted this. And a new report shows that X is still boosting congressional Democrats over Republicans. Apparently, 20 out of the 25 congressional accounts are being boosted on X are Democrats. Mike Lee says, if true, that's troubling. What say you, Elon? Elon replies, to the best of my knowledge, this is not happening. Macro hard. And again, XAI is hiring. Maybe you should apply. And another day, another Grok app update. And Elon says, try Grok Imagine. Deborah says it's clear that we have everything we need to make a mini film with Grok Imagine. And Elon says it's definitely possible with the features coming out this week. And here's an article on how to prompt Grok Imagine to make amazing videos and images. And Grok, pretend you took LSD and visually explain recursion to me, and this is what Grok produced. And Elon had a laugh. Now I'm going to run a slideshow of all the Grok Imagine creations Elon reposted today. And Utah says discrete floating point math is just integer math in disguise. And Elon says floating point isn't real. And X-Free says, did you know Grok 4 Heavy is as powerful as the Starship Super Heavy booster is in space? That's where Super Grok Heavy gets its name from. It's built for big and bold missions, and Elon reposted this. And Diana says, have you tried Grok Imagine? And Elon says, it's amazing. So that's everything that Elon said today. V15 is supposed to be 10 times better than humans at driving. That's the first time I've ever heard Elon talking about V15 before. V14 is supposed to come out in a couple of weeks. We got XAI becoming a multi-trillion-dollar company. In about 2 or 3 months, Tesla's about to have a shareholder meeting in November. One of the things we'll be voting on is whether to invest in XAI. Right now it's supposed to be worth a couple $100 billion. If it's going to be worth multiple trillion, and that holds to be true, we'll see if Tesla shareholders vote to invest in XAI and if the board approves that. Finally, Elon said a world of AI and robots will bring about sustainable abundance, a universal basic income. I always forget that Elon is a socialist, although I recognize that there is a difference between sustainable abundance and socialism as it looks today. I think Elon only believes in socialism when we have an economy that is almost running itself. And if you guys want early access to these videos, or you just want to support the channel, you can do so by joining the channel as a member, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.